stranger to circumstance. Don't notice I'm about to dance. I keep my shit tight, cause any moment I'm throwing hands. I'm blowing up on your man, KO him on demand. Fight of the night, bitch, I'll put ice on my corner, man. Coming through with no weakness. Go down the mission, no secret. Flick of the wrist.
Hola chicos, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de For the Win MMA. El día de hoy tengo la fortuna de compartir con una persona que normalmente no está en la pauta de los medios sudamericanos. Me encuentro junto a Rafael Fisiev con Ataman. Rafa, thank you for being with me in For the Win MMA. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, my bro? Yeah, nice to see you. Nice to meet you. And yeah, I'm happy to talk with you, bro.
I'm really happy that you're here today, man, because I know that you don't give a lot of interviews in English, and let alone for the Spanish-speaking audiences. So I really appreciate the time that you're sharing with me today. Let's start talking. Let's start getting to know each other. What do you say? My first question has to do with your background and your up-and-coming story. My understanding is that you had a rough life growing up. Am I correct? I read that you had to fight your cousins and that your father was very interested in you learning how to box. I've also read that you had to deal with a lot of bullying growing up. So I want to take you from there, and I wanted you to help me connect the dots in order to get a good sense of who you were before becoming the man I see before me today. Could you help me understand that?
Okay. Why I start training in my life, why I come to gym, you know, because in the school, like, some bad boys punch me, some bad boys make bad for me, you know, and that's why I wanna kick ass these guys, you know, and that's why I go to gym and start training, you know. Yeah, first day when I come to school, you know, this guy slapped to my face, you know, and yeah. After 1 week, I start training, and after 2 months, I kick ass these guys, you know, and I start feel good, you know, like.
So you were hunting for performance bonuses from the get-go, my man.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. But about your beginnings, I read, like I said before, I read that your cousins and your father had a big influence. Could you describe that part to me?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, my father, you know, like, is UFC, like, first events, like number 3, number 5, like when UFC just start, you know.
Right.
My father bring to home like video. Как видеокассеты сказать?
A video cassette?
Yeah, video
a VHS,
cassette.
Yeah, a VHS.
Yeah. And I watched this in a video, you know. In a home first. I'm so young, you know, young boy, and my father he explained me everything, like how is, you know, this is warriors, this is real men, you know, like he can go to fight, you know, like it's not easy, like go to fight in a cage 1-on-1, you know, like no, like not everyone can go do that, you know, like win in this cage is not easy, you know, and my father explained me this, you know. And yeah, of course, my father, I think he don't want to do that, like he don't want like make me like professional fighter, but he, как сказать, он не хотел это сделать, но у него получилось, типа.
Excuse me.
Yeah, he didn't mean, but he do, you know.
Right, like he put you in the right track. That's what you're trying to say, right? He put you into this path. I understand. So once the path, you started walking that path, could you explain to me how did you get involved specifically with MMA?
Yeah, I start Muay Thai, but my country is small country, you know. If you fight only 2 times a year in a championship, like country championship and city championship, it's just 2 championship a year, you know, it's so small. And that's why I fight everywhere where I can fight. It's like, example is like hand-to-hand fighting, it's like combat sambo, it's like karate, it's like taekwondo, kickboxing, wushu sanda, everywhere. I fight everywhere. And like mixed martial arts, when I start train Muay Thai, like I start train mixed martial arts too, you know.
Right.
And I think mixed martial arts MMA is this is like this is a top for all sports. This is a top, I think.
I couldn't agree more. It requires a lot of different skill sets and the ability mentally to mix it up and put it all together. So I agree with you on that. Could you describe to me what was the feeling for you when you got the call to inform you that you'd be competing in the UFC?
Oh, amazing! I feel amazing still because I'm first guy from my country, first man. I first man from my nationality. You know, because I'm Azerbaijan. I'm original. I'm Azerbaijan, but I'm represent Kyrgyzstan, and I first from Azerbaijan, and I first from Kyrgyzstan. And from my country, from my city, it's not easy. Like come to UFC, you know, it's like it's something unreal, you know.
Yeah, I completely understand that feeling because one of my good friends, Diego Rivas, was a former featherweight in the UFC, and he was also the first Chilean to compete in UFC. So I completely understand that, and that's a beautiful honor to have, my man. I'm really happy that you got to be a part of that and that you could experience that because it's a feeling that nothing compares to that, according to my friend Diego. I'm going to take you now to what you're actually doing because how did you initially decided to join the Tiger Muay Thai rather than, let's say, any other local gyms or perhaps somewhere closer to home, right? Because a lot of fighters in your region decide to go that route. Could you explain to me the thought process in order to get to Tiger Muay Thai?
Okay, why I start about Thailand. Why I come to Thailand, train to Thailand. Because for me it's easy make money in Thailand because I'm Muay Thai fighter. And when I go to Thailand, I think like, oh, I start my professional career now, and but I can't work because I train 2 times a day. But I can fight Muay Thai, you know, like every week, and I can make money for my life, you know. That's why I come to Thailand, and
Well,
yeah, I fight.
I'm
What?
sorry. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, yeah. I come. First one is because I'm Muay Thai fighter and I can make money, can fight and make money and like and live and learn more MMA. You know, like start work with in a Tiger Muay Thai with strong MMA fighters because like in Thailand, like in Tiger Muay Thai, have a lot of UFC fighters who come to train. You know.
Right, absolutely. I was going to ask you about that. What is it like to train with so many killers out there? Because you have guys like Jan, you have guys like Volk, you have Team Nasty, Leduc. How's that like? How's the everyday life in that gym?
This is so nice. It's so cool because every day you come to gym and every day new faces. You know, every day you see new people. Every day you see like best people from Russia, best people from Europe, best people from Africa, from South America, from North America. You know, from everywhere. And you come to gym if you need some good striker, good boxer, you find it. If you need a good wrestler, you find it. If you need a good jiu-jitsu grappler guy, you know, you find it. Because gym is so full, you know, like before this shit lockdown, but now it's no good, yeah. But
Yeah,
before is a lot of good fighters and big experience, you know.
yeah. The work that the Tiger Muay Thai organization is doing, it's beautiful. Not only because of the melting pot of people that you can gather, because like you said, you have people from all over the world chasing the same goals, right? But also you do it in a setting which is beautiful. You guys get a chance to chop it up in the beach. You get the chance to fight every week, and you can see the fights and you can experience life as well. So I really like all that all that crew and all the ambiance, so to speak. Okay, I really love that. I'm going to ask you now: has coaching, because I know not only you're a fighter, you also coach. So has coach helped you improve your fighting ability and your fight IQ in any way?
It's, yeah, it's helped a lot. It's helped a lot because if you're not stupid coach, you know, because sometimes have stupid coach, you know, like he make every day he makes same training and he don't want like um, make his level more, you know, like he don't want to learn something. He make what he know, like one, three, four combo, and he show this every day for all his life, you know.
Right.
But if you're not stupid, and if you like if you want to show every day something new, if this not only like how to say, как сказать, это не только когда ты обучаешь, это ты сам тоже обучаешься, потому что yeah, you learn when you teach too, you know. Because me, like my how I do that, like yes, I have a lot of big experience for striking, yeah, but um, I watch boxing, I watch taekwondo, I watch karate, wushu sanda, and I try to mix this all, you know. I try to mix. I take something from I take something from boxing. I take something
From
footwork from boxing, footwork from taekwondo. Try to mix it, you know. Try to mix this in MMA, you know, and watch what work in MMA, what not work, you know, what combo work, what footwork not work, you know. And I learn too, you know. I every day, you know, I cook in my head, you know.
Yeah, I completely understand, sir. Well, there's another example in the MMA world that resembles your own. Mr. James Krause, of course. He's one of those guys that also coaches and fights at the same time. Even though we haven't been able to see him in the last, I don't know, maybe 2 years, he hasn't competed. But he also talked to me a while ago, and he was saying that he also had this thing where he was cooking it up constantly. He was constantly thinking, reviewing, and that, of course, affected his game in such a positive manner. How is it for you being a pro fighter and a coach different from just being a fighter?
Mm, what different? Okay. I don't know what different, but yeah, like if you like, you know, like if you stupid fighter, you stupid fighter.
Right. I think that's the best
If you-
answer possible, man.
Yeah, if
I
you-
think it's so self-explanatory.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Nothing to help you, you know.
yeah, absolutely. Only hard work. So, out of all those fighters that you coach, who's the most entertaining one to watch in your opinion?
Um, have one FC fighter is Fabricio Andrade. Maybe you know him. He's from Brazil.
Right.
Yeah, he many times he every day in Tiger Muay Thai he come to my class, and he learned so good, you know, like, and he come like one fighter, and after 1 year when we work with him, when he come to my class, after 1 year he changed like a lot of things, you know, like a lot of moment he changed.
He
And,
leveled up.
yes, much more, you know. And have one more fighter, but he just start now professional, but he's from England. His name Mohidin Abubakar, and he's too. You know, I work with him. And I show him my technique. I try like experiment. Yeah, like in
Yeah,
English,
yeah.
experiment. I make sometimes I make experiment in training with the fighters. If I make patch for someone, I sometimes if I see he young fighter, he just start learn. You know,
Right.
he if you would take bread and put water to bread, like all water stay in the bread. You know,
Right.
like
It's
like,
absorbing all that.
yeah,
It's like a
same,
sponge.
yeah. Same here, you know.
Right.
Sometimes if I see he young and he learn quick, I make experiment, you know.
Right.
And I make experiment with this guy, and now, like after 1 or 1.5 year, I see his technique, and he used this all, you know, all what I show him, all what I make experience. And now he sent me video from his sparring, from his work, you know, and I think, wow, this is so good.
You must be real proud then. I'm really happy that you get a chance to look and witness all that evolution from all your students. Now, my man, let's center on you. I want to know if you have any intentions of fighting again this year. How many times would you like to fight from now until the end of the year?
Okay. I hope I fight August 7 now because UFC saying me like he try find me fight for August 7, and I start make my camp now. No, I start already a long time ago. You know,
Yeah,
it's my third camp
we've
now.
seen you in social media.
Yeah, I fight August 7, and before New Year, I hope I fight again.
Do you know who you'll be fighting right now, or is it a mystery?
I don't know. I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
a bummer. I thought I was gonna get you there, and you were gonna
But
tell
for
me.
me, it doesn't matter with who. You know, like I just need someone. You know,
Yeah, I
I
know.
just
I
need
know.
someone.
Yeah, I know that you're that kind of guy that only wants to bang it out and have a good time and hunt for bonuses, right? Um, in that regard, I've heard that you're not interested in the title talks, only in fight bonuses. Two out of your three wins that your current streak, you have a current three winning streak now after a kind of a rocky start. You have those three wins, and two of those have come with a bonus, right? A performance bonus. Do you have any preference yourself in terms of the kind of bonus you'd like to have? Because there's a way you can earn a bonus through a war. Like you give it your all and you bang it out with a man and you get fight of the night. They both get a prize, right? But you also have performance of the night where you don't necessarily get involved in such thing and you just create something beautiful for us fans to see. Do you have a preference there? Would you like to tell me a bit about that?
Like so cool if I take like two.
Right. If you
Yeah,
get both at the
this
same
is
time.
this my dream now. You know, this my dream now. Take two bonuses in one night. You know, this is my dream now. I think every day, like every day before sleep and every day when I wake up.
Well, if there's somebody that could get it done, my man, that could be you. You have so many highlights. You have so many ways of getting it done. So hopefully Dana sees this and considers it. Um, would you be interested in facing Mustafa again? Because there is no secret in there. You had a tough start in the UFC. Would you be interested in avenging that Rocky debut, or are you more interested in climbing the ladder and get to those big names?
Like I don't need this very much. You know, like okay, I lost. I eat this and I take a shit already. You know, like there's no problem. But and about ranks, you know, about ranks. I don't think about ranks now. I don't want to go like you know take someone. I need more feels now. I wanna feel more in this cage. You know, like
You want
I
to get more
wanna
time in there. That's what I'm
yeah more
understanding.
time. Yes, yeah, yeah,
Right,
more
right. I
time in the
get you.
cage. You know? More time in the cage, and I know I have time now. I'm I'm 28 years old now, and I have a time.
Yeah, you're a young
I have
man,
a time,
so
you know. Yeah, I have a time, and I don't think about ranks. And after like last 3 months or 4 months, I invite to fight like couple guys
right.
from rank. And what this guy do? What these guys do? He just jump for left, jump for right, jump back, jump forward, but no fight. You know.
Right. Well, I wanted to know this because since what I gather from this conversation is that you love to fight regardless of who, as long as you get your bonus, as long as you have fun. If you could fight anybody, MMA or non MMA, a person dead or alive, who would be? Who would that be or why? And why?
I want to fight with me.
Against yourself.
Yeah.
Why? Because that's curious.
Uh,
Like,
because you know, because I know when I go to cage, I ready to die. and I want to fight with guy who I know 100% he's ready to die with me now. You know, and I
Oh,
want
I
to,
see. I
you
see
know,
now. That's a badass answer, my man. That's a badass answer. I like it. I like it a lot. Which matchup, stylistically, do you think would be a good and fun fight for you?
good fun fight. I think with all strikers.
Right,
Like
just to bang it out.
yeah, yeah, just if this guy is striker, if you don't like wrestle, uh, I think with everyone is good. We can show something nice, you know.
Right, right. I get you. I get you. Well, besides fighting, I learned recently that you have a different interest completely, and you're becoming interested in working metal. I wanted to know, how did you discover it, and how did you get interested in becoming a blacksmith?
uh, I don't know why. I think it's from my heart because all history, you know what people do. Like he try take a knife and go to war. He take a knife and go to hunting.
Right.
And I think this is from my heart. You know, I like this from young years old. You know, from young years old, I like knives. Sometimes I go to home, I take knife and go to outside. You know, and they make something with this knife. You know,
Right.
but
Well,
I love this.
can I purchase some of your art, some of your work, like some of your knives? If I get you a call and say, "Hey, man, I want a knife," would you do that one for me if I pay you up?
Of course, I think as soon as I think soon I'm start making
That's
because
great to
now
know, man.
I learn about it a lot about how make knives, how make good steel, how make strong steel, how make not strong steel for in the kitchen, how make strong steel where when you can broke another steel, you know.
Right, right. I get you.
And I
Well,
learn about it a lot now, and I think soon I start making it, you know. And of
well,
course, bro, of course,
I know there's a guy in Australia that would love to get a knife from you. So Malachi, if you're watching this, you have to contact Rafael and he will get you your knife, man. Um,
oh, I'm so happy.
I know you are, man. That's good to see. I can see it right now. You have a shiner in your eye, but you have a shining smile too, and I appreciate it. If we could go out in a lighter note, is there any chance we could ever see you compete in a limbo tournament? Because the way I got to know you was when I saw you dodge that magical kick like it was nothing. Like you just went 90 degrees and you just pulled back like it was nothing. And that's the first image I saw of you. So, man, when can we see you compete in the limbo tournaments, man?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, man, if you ever decide to compete, we'll be waiting and we'll be happy to talk about that too. I wanted to leave you in a lighter note, man. I really appreciate the time that you're giving us. And man, if you ever want to talk again, we'll be here waiting for you. We want to know everything about your next fight. We wish you all the best. And if you want to say something to the Latin American fans that are watching this, all my peeps at the Discord channel, at MMA chat, if you want to go at them and give them a shout out, I appreciate it, my man.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'm very happy to talk with you, and I want to say to all fans, like every time what I say, like thank you guys, because if not have fans, we are nothing, you know. Fans is the first. Why
I
would we do that?
appreciate you, Rafa. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being it for the Win MMA.
This ain't fight night, baby, this is night night, yeah. Feeling right, knuckles clench, I got the mic tight. Lay my belt on the bench, cause it's in my sights, yeah. Plus I'm coming for your head, track, ice tight. Ain't no stranger to circumstance, don't notice I'm about to dance. I keep my shit tight, cause any moment I'm throwing hands. I'm blowing up on your man, can't own him on demand. Fight of the night, bitch, I'll put ice on my corner, man. Coming through with no weakness. Put it on the miss, no secret. Flick of the wrist, no sleepers. Coming for your head, you need B6, he's sick.